This is a House of Consciousness production with special guests Professor Kaba Hiawatha Kamina, aka Professor Booker T. Coleman.
Because without walking us into it, there's a history that you got to get into to understand it, and then make your decisions from the options from this story I'm about to tell.
All right.
A Russian woman by the name of Helene Blavatsky.
Go and look that up, y'all. Don't believe nothing he says.
No, don't believe. Please, not a word. Don't believe a word I say. Study this for yourself. Come to Blavatsky, Helene Blavatsky. She wrote a book, Isis Unveiled. She wrote another 2-volume book, very interesting. But she was a woman of European descent that went to the East, in particular Tibet, to study the Eastern spiritual systems. She studies the symbols. Let me tell you, a picture speaks 1,000 words.
Yes, sir.
Okay? Brother M. Fudishi taught us that a symbol speaks 1,000 pictures. Think about what I'm saying. A picture speaks 1,000 words. A symbol speaks 1,000 pictures. So when you're looking at the Ankh that Brother Sarnetta has, when you're looking at the falcon head that Sarnetta has, that symbolizes thousands of things. But it's all according to where your mind is and your knowledge of wisdom, understanding, that makes a difference as to what you're going to see when you look at them. She took these symbols, realizing the importance. Of course, all these symbols come from Africa, right? But she finds them in Tibet, Buddhism. She brings them back. Coming up into the late 1800s, going into the 1900s, she brings one in particular that captures the imagination of a young lieutenant in the German army. And he studies that symbol and he begins to realize the importance of that symbol that is speaking thousands and thousands of pictures. This man inherently, internally, he is simply an evil man. He is evil from head top to shoe stop. It is what was called a Gramadan, which is called the yin and the yang in Asia, which is a symbol throughout all ancient societies. The Germans took this symbol and they made it the symbol of the organization that they were going to do some of the evilest deeds that has been done in modern day history, putting aside the Ma'afa. This is Europe, this is white on white crime. It is called the Svastika. Shvatsa meaning black and Tika meaning symbol, the black symbol, the perfect black. You gotta get to this. He takes this symbol and he makes it the very symbol of everything evil he's going to do. From the murdering of the first German Africans, which is the first to die in the Holocaust, because the Africans were the first to die in Hitler's hands. The Jews came later.
I didn't know that. I thought they was coming to
black
us
folk.
after that.
No, black folk were the first to go.
Oh, okay.
Because remember, Du Bois, William E.B. Du Bois, many of the prominent African Americans, A. Philip Randolph, many prominent African Americans encouraged African Americans to fight in World War I. Because they said if we fight in World War I, we'll have a right to demand our rights. Britain took their British Africans, Kenya, Ghana, Nigeria. They went to the Caribbean, Jamaica, Barbados, Trinidad. France went to Cote d'Ivoire, and they went to Senegal and all the French-speaking countries. They came to the Caribbean, Haiti, St. Lucia, Martinique, brought Africa. And they brought all these Africans, along with African Americans coming from America, into the European theater to fight, although we stayed very short. War ended 1919, basically. But these Africans that went there, they were loved by the European people. They were treated better. Now, mind you, they're outnumbered, so they're no fear to the European people, but they were so valiant, they were so powerful. These were Nubian warriors. And they were fighting for something that they believed that would benefit them back where they came from. But they started loving this acceptance so much in Europe, they never went back. And they stayed in Europe. You got this guy named Adolf Hitler. He's looking at this and he's saying, no. Not only did they whip our behinds, and it's because of black people that we lost World War I. They will never admit that. But black folk fighting in World War I, they were fighting tooth and nail for their freedom. And they thought the European theater would give them their freedom in the other places that they were going to go back to. But they loved it so much they stayed. They married, they had children. And Hitler, oh man, he detested that. Okay? But this is something that you have to understand in terms of what's happening in Europe. And then what's going to happen is that people of Jewish faith now, Europeans who are being tortured by Hitler, are now being tortured, but everywhere they go, they see this symbol, this swastika, everywhere they go. And this swastika begins to become etched indelibly in their minds as a horrible thing. Mind you, this is a sacred symbol in Tibet. It is a sacred symbol in the ancient world. It means the continuation of life. It's a spiral galaxy. It is the yin, the yang. It is the male, the female. It is the twinness of the Dogon. It is the story of the duality of life in the universe. Okay? It is gender in the Kabbalion. It's holy. But this dirty man with this dirty mind influencing other dirty people took a sacred symbol and made it dirty. And so now if I should even walk into a room and draw that symbol on a board with people of Jewish faith in that room, they not even gonna deal.
That's right.
That is an evil system, and you're anti-Semitic, and you hate Jews, and you're not a human being, because they're looking at this symbol.
Right.
But it's a sacred symbol in its history.
I know where you're going.
You know where I'm going?
Yeah.
Let's walk into the room now.
Break it down.
The word Nigger, N-G-R, is a sacred word in Africa. When the Punic Wars took place, give or take 200-something BC, and Africans came upon these North Africans, okay, including Hannibal, but we're going to leave Hannibal because he's going to come down the road. He's not the first Punic War.
Right.
They're going to want to know, who are you? What's your name? And so these Africans, being African, gave them the name that they wanted those lowly Europeans to see themselves. So they said, my name is Negus Negusti, King of Kings, Lord of Lords. Neter, you can take the G and the R and interchange it. Neter, I'm God. Nigger, Naga. If you go to India, Naga means snake.
Right.
Okay? If you go to Africa, you'll see that the word Nake means, look at what Nake is. N-A-K-E, Nake, the sound. But what did they do?
Asia.
They put the snake, the symbol, what's called a determinative, they put a symbol of the snake in front of Nake, and now we have the word snake. But Nake is the word. The symbol that we call an S is a picture of a snake.
Right.
But S, Nake, snake, is the word we come down with.
Right. If you go to Asia, Naga
Yes.
is God.
Yes.
It means God in
Yes.
Asia.
Yes. Vietnam, even go way over.
Right.
God, spirit, that is to be blessed. Romans, not having a language, because to have a language you have to have a script. There is no Roman script.
Right.
Roman script is Greek script. There's no Greek script. Greek script is African script. Greek don't have a script.
When you say script, what do you mean script?
Letters that you can pronounce your thoughts. A language specifically, Dr. Ivan Van Sertima teaches us this. In order to have a language, you must have a script. English isn't a language. It uses Greek script. Spanish is not a language. It comes off of something else because you use Greek script. A, B, C, D, all those letters really, come out of the Medunete.
That's right.
Okay? Dr. Walter Williams teaches us this. Quasi Milton teaches us this. When you look at the Rosetta Stone, that third is not classical Greek. It's another scriptic language that came out of Africa that the Greeks adopted. It's like if we were to write something and have three languages. Top we have the King's English, Standard American English, and then Ebonics. They're all the same language, they're just different representations of the same language. Well, that's what the Rosetta Stone is. They try to make classical Greek an original classical language. It's not. Greek don't have a language. Think about it. They learned everything in science and math and everything from African people. How can you have letters that describe something that you didn't know where you came from? It can't be. You can't have a script if what you write is something foreign to your thoughts.
So let me ask you.
I'm still on the story.
Right.
But go ahead.
So when the white man take our mothers and take our babies and lynch them because a brother by the name of, he goes by Brother Larry or Professor Larry.
Professor Larry.
And he always say the last word our ancestors heard was the word nigger. Kill that nigger. Lynch that nigger.
Yes.
Burn
Yes.
that nigger.
Yes.
So we need to stay away from that word nigger. And he says this all day, every day.
Okay. But now let's go back. Let's go back. Remember my first story about the swastika.
That's right.
Now let's get back into this word.
There you go.
The Romans didn't have a word for nigger. So what they did is they took the word and put it into their vocabulary. And so negro became a description of a people, but described it as the complexion of the people. Negro. Coming off the Greek, inger, because they had the inger also. Coming off into that, you have this, even when you look at the Greeks have the word gnostic. It's the N, the T, and the C. So this concept of ng was always related to black people, because Gnostic means knowledge and wisdom. Okay? So, from the Romans and the Western civilization, this word negro is in the Latinness that is going to now come into Europe. It's going to come into Spain, it's going to come into Italy, it's going to come into Romania, it's going to come into Portugal, it's going to come into France. And this word negro, that was a good word, a word for God, King of Kings, is now placed in a language. It is now going to be transferred after all of these. The Spaniards are going to bring this word to America, negro, as they bring Africans here. The British don't have a word, because they don't even have a language, but they're going to start to look, and they're going to start to say, negro, black people, people we enslave. They are going to, in their deepest psychopathicness mindset, is going to now take this word that represented a good thing, a God thing, a spirit thing, a king thing. They're now going to take this word and create a social condition. And this word is going to be a social condition. It's going to be shortened from negro, nigger. And the word nigger is going to be placed on the people who the Europeans enslaved, but it's going to be more than just a name for a people. It's going to be the name of the social condition that these people are placed in. There were schools down south that had no black children. But if you acted up, they had a chair in the corner, and that was called the nigger chair. And that's where they made you sit, in the nigger chair. Because you're acting like a nigger. Acting like a nigger. How can you act like a nigger? If you are black, that's not an action. That is a definition of an individual. But they made the word nigger into a social. Get that nigger meant black person. So just as that word, just as that symbol of the Ramadan was a sacred symbol to some people, it became dirty in the mind of a dirty man by the name of Adolf Hitler. Just like Unger was a beautiful word that described a beautiful people, because of dirty, filthy white supremacists, it was made into a bad social condition. So that every time someone of Jewish faith sees a swastika, they don't care. Don't tell me nothing about no good stuff.
That's right. They just remember the pain that associated with it.
So go back to Professor Larry.
Ovens. Right, yeah.
So when black folk heard the last word come out their mouth is get that nigger, burn that nigger, hang that nigger, just like Jews can't stand to see a swastika, black people can't stand to hear the word nigger.
Right.
But neither know the history of the word.
Beautiful.
So my thing is, I tell young people now, don't go. I'm gonna deny I ever said anything. So don't go out there and say, Brother Cobb, say you can call each other nigger.
That's right.
I don't care how you spell it, because you have to understand our elders who watched people die with that word.
What you're simply saying is just go and do the history on it.
That's
Go
all
do
I
the
say.
research.
And don't believe a word I say. Go
There
do
you
it your
go.
history yourself.
And I'm with you on that.
But see, my key is, for me, I'm just about making us think. I'm not even trying to get us out the box. I'm trying to make us realize the box doesn't even exist. Because if I step out the box and you're still in it, you can't see me because you're in the box. If we collapse the sides of the box, realizing that it never existed in the first place, we can see each other. And I don't care what you think about what I'm saying.
Right.
Before we continue with Professor James Smalls, for part 2 and 3, make sure you subscribe to Street Consciousness 1. All my new videos will be uploaded on Street Consciousness 1, family. Make sure you do that.
Nigger is a bad word because who made it bad?
That's what I'm saying.
That's what I wanted to deal with.
Voodoo is a bad word because who made it bad?
That's my point. They translated it into our brain as something unnatural.
I don't think nigger's bad. I mean, I grew up in South Carolina on a plantation. I ain't never met a cracker that called me a nigger because there ain't that many crackers with that much balls on the planet Earth. And I bet you 99% of the black men in the South can tell you the same thing. Ain't no cracker got enough balls to call you a nigger unless he got 10 other crackers with him with some sticks in their hands.
Right.
So when did nigger become such a evil thing? When the white man said it, when they wanted us to engage in an argument that was a centrifuge that took us away from the argument we need to be engaged in, which was reparations, which is the real argument where we should be engaged in when we're talking about things around slavery. Reparations should be the dialogue, but he got us dialoguing about skin color and making us think skin color is race. No, our race is our culture, not our color. Because look how light you are, and look how dark he is. Are y'all in the same race? Of course you are, because your culture and your value and your genes and your history fits in the same race. But he makes us thinking that we are arguing about skin color, and if we just stop talking about skin color, everything would be fine. No, we're talking about value system, principles, concepts, and ideas that's rooted in a histology that's carried forth by a culture. White culture do not have the capacity, and listen to this clearly, European white culture do not have the capacity to carry African values.
So is it all right for me to call you nigger? Because that's a direct assault on our ancestors, am I right?
No, it's not. No,
Okay.
how is it a direct assault on our ancestors?
Because when the white man will put that rope around our neck, they will say, kill that nigga, burn that nigga, lynch that nigga.
That's the same as saying burn that black man,
Yeah.
kill that black man.
Okay.
But see, how many black people was there to hear some white man say that? See, some of the stuff we got to get out of our head. How many black persons was standing there hearing some white man say anything like that?
So Hollywood painted that picture in our mind.
Hollywood and books written by crackers.
Okay.
So we
There
got
you
to
go.
stop, we got to get away from his teaching us, and we got to teach ourselves. If you want to call me nigger, cool. My mama used to call me that, and she loved me. Nobody loved me like she loved me. My wife don't love me like she loved me. My children don't love me like she loved me. And she never meant it to be an evil word or a mean word or a bad word or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? And so we've got to be clear that that word got its negative connotation from our enemy, and we got to ask the question, why don't he want us to use the word?
Because it's powerful.
And why don't he want us to use the word? And let's be clear, nigger is nothing but the Anglo-Saxon, Scottish, Irish inability to say negrito, so they said nega instead of nigra. They said nigga because they couldn't do ra, because that's not the way you speak Anglo-Saxon German, which we call English. So why are we going to let him take something and make it something it's not, and then we running along behind it, chugging, trying to catch something that ain't nothing but an illusion to start with.
So
Woo, that's powerful right there.
what I was trying so hard to get out, and That's why I asked you the question about the white man being the devil and the black man being God and all that kind of stuff, because me dealing with science, I'm already there because I know what makes up what. My thing is how detrimental to our progress these constant diversions of our attention are becoming, especially when we have to stay focused on the things that matter. I get people calling me up daily from Canada, California, Germany, different countries, different states, and we all dealing with the same issues.
Right. And you want to give answers to questions you probably don't have answers to. And I don't mean that disrespectfully, because I used to do the same thing, especially when I was younger. If I don't have an answer to the question, I'm telling them, me and you going to go and look for the book or a source or an elder that can give us the answer to that question. And when we start doing more of that, because a lot of what we need to do is read more. We need to read more. Because most of the things that we've discussed here today, the answers have been out here for years. It's been out here for years. And let me show you, if we say the white man is the devil, then given the behavior of the black man in Congo and America, we are worse devil than the white man ever was.
But see,
so if we make the dichotomy like that, you can't be God. You may as well be killed. You deserve to be killed. Given when you consider black men the sticking rifle butts, rifle barrels up a black woman's vagina, ruining them for life by the hundreds of thousands in the Congo. Ain't no white, most of them ain't never even seen a white man. Now what do we do with that? So we got to deal with that differently. Ignorance is the devil.
There you go.
Right.
Well, no, that's ignorance of what is the appropriate behavior for a human being. Appropriate behavior for a human being is the realization that they are the divine, having a human experience, and an acceptance that their purpose on earth is to perfect that realization.
Right, but that's my point is that we are spending so much time in these small arguments about who's the devil and who's not the devil and all that kind of stuff, instead of educating people.
Recount, no, but many people try to educate, but some people like to get caught in an argument because it doesn't put any responsibility to study on it.
Thank you.
There's the responsibility to do the work that must fall on everybody. So if you counsel like I just counseled, that the responsibility, I am God having a human experience, but I'm not yet perfected, but I know that I'm God having a human experience, and my journey here is to perfect me. You know, and if I fail to perfect me in this lifetime, I believe as my ancestors that I will come back again as one of my grandchildren to again perfect myself. And when I finish that journey, I will dissipate and become one with the rest of the energy, helping others perfect themselves. And we will all be conscious beyond our subconscious when we reach that level. We become consciousness. You know? When you think of consciousness in you,
right.
What is it? It's energy. Every one of us in this room right now, even though the young man over there isn't saying anything, his brain is putting out tens of millions of energy waves with his concerns, and it's affecting everybody's mind in the room.
Right. It says thought forms matter.
Yes.
What about the Neanderthal? Some people say that the Neanderthal man is not real.
I didn't create that framework.
Okay, so you don't
know what they're talking about.
Let me get to this, because that's a hoax. The hoax now is this. Hold on. This is the newest hoax. Is that all non-Africans have Neanderthal blood. This is a hoax, number one. First of all, if you look at the time frame, the European comes on the planet about 26,000 years ago. According to what I'm studying from Dr. Charles Finch and those guys there, who are saying that the European is a light-skinned African. That he is an African who got caught in the Ice Age, not just the Ice Age, but isolated away from his culture. His original culture, therefore cutting him off from high-cultured civilization, beginning to develop cultural traits of living up there in the ice and being barbaric.
Survival. He's trying to survive against nature.
Well, no.
Let me just come back again.
Hold on.
The Neanderthal is his creed. See, we can't hold a real African argument if our frame of references and our premise is established by European arguments. We have to change our arguments. And so you came closer. That's what Charles and them was trying to change the argument. You've got to change your frame of reference. You've got to change your premise. And you've got to establish a new premise. I don't give what they call it, Neanderthal or Buanderthal. I don't know nothing about that because I don't create that. That's his creation. Let him work that shit out. Let us have another discussion. The discussion closer to our discussion is an African trapped in the Wormian Ice Age, which was 100,000 years of the Ice Age. Most of them died. The only one that lives were those who mutated to survive that ice. Okay? And then there was a 10-year hiatus. And it really wasn't 26,000 years, it was between 10 and 15,000 years.
Okay.
There was a 10-year hiatus where he had a chance to live without the bulk of ice, and then you had another 90,000 years of the Ice Age, and then that's when we saw him. That's when he came down into Southern Asia, North Africa, and so forth. And we had to encounter something that's at war with nature. But you got to understand the depths of this white man. Otherwise, you'll never truly understand the white man. The white man knows he's a black man. See, you're confused. You don't know that the white man knows he's a black man. The white man knows he's a black man with a genetic deficiency that is psycho-spiritual. And he understands that. And so he's angry with nature. We are nothing but a part of the nature that he's angry with.
Thank you.
For doing that to him. All right? Understand that thoroughly now.
But climate does not change the complexion of the skin.
You're not listening. Yes, it does.
Oh, okay.
All you got to read is D-Up. D-Up breaks it down on how it does it. But first you got to understand, he is angry with nature.
Right.
That's why
He's angry with nature. But you have to see that he doesn't see you as some separate element. He sees you as an aspect of nature. And furthermore, he sees you as what he wished he could be, and he's pissed because you're that and he ain't. And he's going to kick your ass until either you kill him or he kill you.